All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video. Ryan Clark, Tay Crowder, and Fred Taylor talking Brock Purdy. And, of course, Crowder and Clark are ripping Purdy again. And Fred Taylor had to inject some logic into this situation. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Corte Madera and Emeryville. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use that promo code Krug, and they'll match you up to your first $100. Now, this week in Underdog, I'm going Juwan Jennings in Super Bowl 58, higher than 1.5 receptions. Travis Kelce, higher than a half a rushing or receiving touchdown. Patrick Mahomes, higher than 25.5 rushing yards. Brock Purdy, higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. And George Kittle, higher than 4 receptions. And thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. All right. I saw this on Twitter, and it was basically just Ryan Clark sitting there with Tay Crowder talking about, Brock Purdy's not this and Brock Purdy's not that. And it's like, it's just so ridiculous. It's tiresome. And if you ever want to know that you're talking to people who don't know what they're talking about, anytime they bring up Jimmy Garoppolo, if you can't talk Brock Purdy without bringing up Jimmy Garoppolo, then you're probably pretty freaking limited. And sure enough, it's like, Garoppolo this, and Garoppolo took him there. Garoppolo didn't take anybody anywhere. I mean, let's be completely honest about that. Jimmy Garoppolo did not take the 49ers to the Super Bowl the way that Brock Purdy has taken the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo most definitely did not take the Niners to the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo was, handed the ball off a bunch, and was the quarterback of the team. But they took the ball out of his hands in the playoffs. And if you don't realize that, look at the difference in the stat lines in the 2 playoff games leading into the Super Bowl for Garoppolo and for Brock Purdy. And we'll do that. But first, let's hear from Tay Crowder, Ryan Clark, and Fred Taylor.
Not even the top 10 best player on that team. John Lynch is the real MVP, Fred. John Lynch is the real MVP. Kyle Shanahan's offense is the real MVP. Brock Purdy is good. Brock Purdy is one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the world. But, bro, you can throw a number of quarterbacks on that team and still make that team good. That team could be in the Super Bowl without Brock Purdy. Is he a game changer or is he a game manager? And those words have got so crossed up, it's difficult to say.
Because in a way, everybody's a game manager of their system. But who goes above the X's and O's?
It's X's and O's, and I don't think Brock Purdy. I love how you say that. I don't think Brock Purdy goes above the X's and O's. He ran in the second half of the NFC Championship, and I love that, and I like that he got those first downs. But you can throw a number of quarterbacks, Fred. I swear to God, you could throw a number of quarterbacks in that same system, in that same game, and they'll still win that game in the second half.
They tried. They tried
Garoppolo.
They tried
Freddie,
with Garoppolo.
Garoppolo went to the Super Bowl.
They tried
is
with
Garoppolo
Trey.
Great?
They tried with Trey. They tried with Jimmy G. This guy got both of them out of there.
Is Garoppolo
Listen, wait,
great?
let me finish my point, right? You're talking about game changer. If he didn't kick into game changer mode, their ass would be on vacation. They were down 17. This young kid went out there and played his ass off. He played lights out. That candle, that light, if he didn't make the passes he made or the runs he made, they're home. So without him, just go back last year when he got injured against Philly. After he got hurt, what happened?
Bitch, they had me at quarterback, Fred. It was 4 deep.
Christian McCaffrey played quarterback.
When he got hurt,
this motherfucker's taking
that's the point
shotgun
of perfect.
snaps, Fred.
You proved my point. Without Brock Purdy,
Garoppolo went.
How did they get there? How did they get to the NFC Championship?
With a goddamn all-star roster.
That's
how they got there. With an all-star roster.
They tried to get there with Jimmy G. They didn't. They weren't doing it. When this kid got in there, he turned it up and he took him to the NFC Championship game. When he got hurt, they lost. The shit was over with. Their season was done. He came back this year. He led them all the way back. They after the three game skid, we thought, oh, he's just Mr. Irrelevant. Lynch, he's part of the push and changing in the big pivot. He went out and signed Chase Young.
Chase Young.
That was a great sign.
That roster
was a
held.
great
That
sign.
roster held, though.
No, it's a great roster. That's all credit to John Lynch. But even after that, the young guy, he picked it back up. And he got everybody involved. That's his job. Kyle Shanahan is an amazing coach. He did what it took to get his young quarterback ready. This guy's been playing lights out, man. He had an amazing NFC Championship game. And without him, they are not in the Super Bowl. Without him, they do not even have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
All right, there you have it. Fred Taylor injecting a little reason into the thing where Crowder and Clark are just pure haters at this point. And it's like, why are you hating on this quarterback? I mean, and it's like, why are you comparing him to Jimmy Garoppolo? Because they both played for the Niners, because they're both right-handed quarterbacks. I mean, exactly. I mean, people would never allow, you can't compare people that, with who don't really compare for no reason at all. Because they played on the same team. So Garoppolo in 2019 went 17 of 27 against Minnesota and Green Bay, 208 yards, a touchdown, a pick. He had 5 runs for -1 yard. 27 pass attempts in 2 playoff games, combined pass attempts, and no rushing, negative rushing. Brock Purdy in the 2 games against Green Bay and Detroit, 43 of 70. So almost 3 times as many passing attempts. 43 of 70, 70 and not 27. 519 passing yards, more than double the touchdowns, 2-1. Same number of interceptions, 1-1, but also 10 runs for 65 yards. And that's the real difference between Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo. Outside of Brock's smarter, he processes better. He's more accurate. The ball comes out on time. He's more of a downfield thrower. He can throw outside the numbers, but he also can run. And he's an athlete. He can take off and run. Jimmy had no running ability at all. He was a pocket passer who didn't throw the ball down the field, didn't make plays late in the down, didn't make plays outside the numbers, and really was getting by largely because the 49ers had a bevy of weapons, a great play caller, and a tremendous overpowering defense. And he happened to be the quarterback. But, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFC Championship game was 8 of 9. 8 of 9. He threw 9 times in that entire game. Shanahan took the ball totally out of his hands. Brock Purdy in the second half against the Lions was like 14 of 17. And he had 2 huge runs. So, I mean, they're both 49er quarterbacks. They both had Kyle Shanahan calling the plays. They both have a decent defense. But that's pretty much where it ends. I mean, Brock Purdy's smarter. He's more athletic. He's got a better arm as far as he'll make more throws down the field. He'll make more throws outside the numbers. He'll be a good late in the down thrower. And what that means is after the initial play is, defended well, what do you do next? What do you do next? Well, Garoppolo would throw it away or turn it over. Brock Purdy will extend the play with his legs and find somebody down the field, or he'll run. And that gives him a level of, multiple levels of quarterbacking that are way, way, way better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So, I mean, it's like you're going to compare Garoppolo to Purdy. Why? Because you don't see the difference between the two of them because they both played for the Niners. Anyway, just really weak on the part of Crowder. And who's Crowder, by the way? Crowder's just a guy. And Ryan Clark's already on record as saying that, Ryan Clark is like, he lied to us last year, and he told us he lied to us. So why is he not lying now? You know what I mean? Ryan Clark's just a guy who says things for effect. So Clark speaks for effect. Crowder's an absolute nobody. Fred Taylor came out and basically said, guys, come on, pump the brakes. This guy had the ball in his hands in the second half. The 49ers were going down the tubes if it wasn't for Brock Purdy. And now he makes all these plays in the NFC Championship game with his legs, with his arm, leads this amazing 27-point unanswered second half comeback against the Lions, vaults his team into Super Bowl 58. And all you can say is, yeah, he's like Garoppolo. So Fred Taylor definitely put those guys in their place for sure. But there you have it. A little breakdown. Fred Taylor, Tay Crowder, who? Yeah. And Ryan Clark talking Brock Purdy. All right, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.